This video is sponsored by Shortboxed, the easiest and safest way to buy and sell comic books, both raw and graded. Download the app today using the link in the description.
Reggie here, and I want to welcome you to another one of my videos. In this video, we are going to count down the top 10 most sold books on the Shortbox app for the month of June. And part of the reason why I like doing this countdown is because it gives us some insight into the hot books that people are interested in picking up and technically actively purchasing. Before we get to the top 10, I want to give you some insight into 3 books that have fallen from the list since last month. The very first book is Spawn, issue number 1 from Todd McFarlane. Number 2, Star Wars, issue number 1, volume 1. And last but not least, Star Wars number 1, Heir to the Empire. Those are the 3 books that appeared on the list that are no longer on the list. And as you've probably surmised, there are a couple of new books that have taken their place. With that said, let's get to the list. Number 10, and new to the list, is Uncanny X-Men issue number 266, the second appearance and first cover for Gambit. There are currently 19,852 Universal Blue Label copies of this comic on the CGC census. The 9.8 has a 30-day average value of $743. Number 9 is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 252, the first appearance of the black suit worn by Spider-Man, a suit that was designed by a Marvel fan and purchased by Jim Shooter for $200. There are currently 19,807 Universal Blue Labels of this comic on the census, with the 9.8 having a 30-day average value of $1,480. Number 8 is another new entrant. This one is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 300, the first appearance of the symbiote known as Venom. The 9.8 has a 30-day average value of $3,793 and represents just 5.3% of the total graded population of 27,280 Universal Blue Labels on the CGC census. Number 7 is New Mutants 98, the first appearance of the Merc with the mouth known as Deadpool. There are currently 23,391 Universal Blue Labels on the CGC census, with 17.7% of them landing a 9.8. The 9.8 has a 30-day average value of $1,526. Number 6 is Wolverine, the limited series number 1. This book is the first solo series featuring the widely popular Wolverine. The 9.8 has a 30-day average value of $656 and represents 18.1% of the graded Blue Label census, which currently sits at 21,180 copies. If you haven't already done so, I want to encourage you to leave a substantive comment behind on this video for a chance to win a $100 credit from my friends over at Shortboxed. And as I mentioned, they offer both raw and graded comics. Be certain to tune in to the Comics Today show on Wednesday at 7 p.m. in the future for the announcement as to who the winner is. Good luck. Number 5 is Something is Killing the Children issue number 1 and all of its many variants. There are currently 2,840 Universal copies of this comic on the census, but 70.6% of them are 9.8s. The 9.8 has a 30-day average value of $713. The most recent sale, however, for this book was just $576. Number 4, moving up one spot, is Ultimate Fallout issue number 4. This includes the first, second print, and all of the variants. This book is the first appearance of the incredibly popular Miles Morales. There are currently 15,333 Universal Blue Labels on the census, with 4,000 or 26.1% of them landing a 9.8. The 9.8 has a 30-day average value of $1,711. Number 3 is Spider-Man #1 from 1990, and yes, all of the various covers are included. There are 10,913 total copies of cover A on the census, with 60.9% of those being a 9.8. The 9.8 has a 30-day average value of $109. Number 2 is another book from the 90s. This one, X-Men issue #1. There are currently 14,088 copies of this comic on the census, with 57.1% of them landing a 9.8. The 9.8 has a 30-day average value of just $87. And the #1 book sold on the Shortbox app is Marvel Superhero Secret Wars issue #8, the origin of the black suit worn by Spider-Man that later becomes Venom. There are currently 23,190 blue label copies of this comic on the census, with 22.4% of them landing a 9.8. The 9.8 has a 30-day average value, according to Go Collect, of $672. So there you have it. That is the rundown of the top 10 most sold books on the Shortbox app for the month of June. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I definitely want to encourage you to do so. Give the video a thumbs up and be certain to tune in for additional content from the channel. If you need to reach out to me, feel free to do that on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.
This thing on? Mic check. I just want to make sure y'all can hear me clearly. Yo. Should you practice art, or should art be your practice? I had a question, so I asked it. Not to anyone specifically, but to my inner God, you know? The one that's gonna be a master, the one that's more than a rapper, the one that's an educator, the one that seeks enlightenment. He travels with concepts, he's got the mindset expansive. He understands that his time combined with travel and concepts makes his mind convex. Sort of like when you look at a brain scan. Straight off meditation, we was concaving until we had that eternal dialogue that created our dialect. Now we in distinct rooms of pure souls having them conversations. Synergy and combinations. You fly and we waiting. Indian style in the gold temple of greatness. When you follow the North Star, you coming for the education. This is my audio book. These rhymes are just the imagery. More like an audiographic novel or a memoir about a young MC making timeless music with his mentor. I pray I grasp my letters. Nothing was meant to last forever. 1 minute is King and Coretta, then it's Kim and Yeezy. They both iconic, the other is better. One is legendary, choose wisely, I choose legacy. I had a conversation with my grandma inside me. She told me put yourself in a position to bring my Sunday dinners back. I heard her clearly, she's my AirPod. I got a Bluetooth connection to the afterlife, and the battery never dies. Nothing lasts forever unless it's energy.